Blinking in the morning sun, blinking in the morning sun, shaking off the heavy wall.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. So today we're here to do a special celebration for a friend of mine, George, the Elvis vinyl guy, who is just past a milestone on his channel, and he has surpassed 300 subscribers and is running a 300 subscribers contest. Now, if you don't know George, the Elvis vinyl guy, obviously by the name of his channel, he's very passionate, huge fan of Elvis Presley, and among that, you know, not only just that, but he also likes a lot of different music. He's really open-minded. I think I've turned him on to a few things in the year or so that I've known George, and he's a big fan of classic rock and country music and a little bit more of the hard rock genres. But I love the fact that George is really open-minded to discovering new music, and we're friends and we communicate back and forth once in a while, and he's just an all-around great guy, heart of gold. I mean, he's just one of those guys that's super friendly, super appreciative, grateful. You know, he's a family man, ex-Marine. You know, he's really a first-class guy. So it's my pleasure to come on here and do a contest entry video to George's 300 subscribers contest. Your subscribers are very well earned. You know, you started your channel, I think, about a year ago. And I think I was one of your very first subscribers because you were already watching my channel. So when you decided to start a YouTube channel, it was a no-brainer for me to go and check your music collection out and the things that you were interested in and things like that. So, you know, if you haven't yet subscribed to George, I'll put a link, of course, down to his 300 subscribers contest and to his channel. And I really encourage everybody who likes my taste in music and likes my channel and likes the way I go about talking about music. I think you'll really like George because he has that same passion, that same really friendly approach to his YouTube videos, non-confrontational, he just does it really first class. So again, it's my pleasure to come on here and enter your contest. So you've kept it pretty simple. You've got 4 questions that you've asked us to respond to, and I have been mulling this over for, you know, a week or so. I was out of town last week, so I'm a little bit late to get on this, but still on time. And I'm just going to get right to it. So, not to drag this on too long, I know that you've got a lot of videos to watch and you're a busy man, so I'm going to try to keep this relatively brief. First question George asks us to answer is, what is the record that means the most to us? And that's probably very difficult because that could be interpreted many different ways. What's the most valuable? Which is the one that you fought the hardest to get? Was it a gift? Was it something that you obtained as a VCLT surprise? You know, unexpected? You know, there's just so many ways to look at that, so it's really tough to answer. But what I picked is this one, because not so much that it's a rare record, it's not by any means. You could easily pick this up for about $20, but I was able to get it personally signed by all 5 members of the band, and I thought that was worth sharing. I've shared this record before on previous videos, I believe, but I think overall it fits the bill for one of the records anyway that means the most to me. There's probably dozens that I could have picked for this category, but I picked Young the Giant, their debut album, self-titled. This is a autographed signed copy that I personally obtained from all 5 members of the band at one of the concerts, so probably 2014 or 13, something like that. And I clearly remember it because the singer, Samir, was quite under the weather that day, and I could kind of tell he didn't want to be bothered, so he graciously signed the record, but didn't really have a lot to say, because apparently he was suffering from pretty bad flu. But anyway, it means a lot to me to have this. I absolutely love this record. I love the band. I have a little shrine above me as a tribute to Young the Giant, you know, they're still a young, up-and-coming band. They're about to release their fourth record later this year, and just a really good Californian band. They used to be known as the Jakes before Young the Giant, and anyway, it's just fantastic. So if you've yet to check out this record or Young the Giant, here's your chance, maybe to discover something cool. And again, this is a signed copy that I obtained at a concert. And you know, is it the most important record? Is it the one that means the very most to me? Well, that's hard to say, but as I said, I could have picked dozens of different records for this particular question, but I decided to go with that because, you know, it, I guess, means as much as anything else to me. Question number 2 is something that you would never leave your collection, even if I fell on hard times. You know, if I had to sell off a good portion or most of my records, you know, what is the one thing that I probably would, you know, be buried alive with? I picked this record, and I've shown this record a lot, but I would say this one would be one of the very last ones I would ever part with. This is an original copy of Cocteau Twins' 4 Calendar Cafe on Fontana, and I think this is only released in Great Britain. This, of course, is a British copy. And I've shown this record so many times, and I've talked about how much I love it, and I've, you know, gone over, you know, the meaning of what this record means to me. And this is one of the very early records I picked up. I wasn't even really playing records. In fact, I didn't have a turntable when I bought this. Of course, when I was young, I had turntables and records, but those were long gone. And I just decided, about 15 years ago, I was going to start collecting records more just for the cover art and just to have them for favorites. And this was one of the early ones that I picked up, and I had it in a frame for the longest time and hanging on my wall. Then when I decided to get back into actually playing records, it was just an amazing thing to have because it's since become quite rare and very hard to obtain. Now, they did re-release this as a Record Store Day item, which, of course, if you watch my videos faithfully, you know I have that due to my another good friend, Ross Goodall, who sent it to me from the UK because it was a Record Store Day UK exclusive in 2017. But I still cherish this version of it much more because, one, it sounds so much better, and two, I've had it for so very long, and it's probably not in very many people's collections. So, anyway, 4 Calendar Cafe is an amazing record, and Cocteau Twins are an amazing band, so that is one that would be very hard. I would have to be very desperate, and talk about falling on hard times. Well, I mean, it could happen, but that would be one of the very last records I would want to sell. Question number 3 is, what is your favorite genre of music? And there's a part B to that, is what is the definitive album in that genre? Again, kind of difficult because I love dream pop, I love classic rock, I love early stuff from the 60s like the Beatles and things like that. I love the blues. I'm wearing my British Blues t-shirt today. But what I've decided to go with is post-punk. And, you know, that is a genre, I guess, that you could say is defined by late 70s, after the punk rock phase of the UK kind of fell out of favor. There was a lot of bands coming up like The Cure and Susie and the Banshees and the Talking Heads and Devo, and a long list of bands that kind of fall into that post-punk category from the very late 70s into the early 80s. And even more so than ever, I think I've fallen much more in favor with that time, if you want to call it a genre or time of music. I find that there to be so many good bands that I'm still discovering to this day that I really had no idea that I would, you know, be in my early 50s and still feel so passionate about. And what is the album, in my opinion, that defines that genre? Well, that one was maybe not as difficult as some of the questions because I picked Unknown Pleasures by Joy Division as the definitive album of the post-punk movement. And I think most people may agree with me. Now, this is a special copy. This is an original British copy, and it has the textured cover and no barcode. And I'm so lucky to have this because it's really in remarkable shape. And I would say this is also one of the very best sounding records I've ever purchased. I absolutely love this record, the way it sounds, just the whole flavor of it, the moodiness of it. It has a bit of a gothic feel, which again kind of is that post-punk kind of movement. You know, when you're talking about bands like The Cure and Susie and the Banshees, and you know what went on to be New Order, started out as Joy Division. You know, it's just fantastic. So I picked the defining album of post-punk as Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures, no-brainer. And then finally, the final question from George is name an album that eludes me that I would want the most. Now, I've answered this question before, whether it be my own videos. I think someone else may have asked that in a contest. And, you know, it always changes. And I'm just going to tell you what I currently desire the most, that it seems to be very elusive for me. I can't seem to get a copy of it. I mean, they're out there. I could purchase one online if I'm willing to spend $150 or more, but I'm really holding out, hoping that I can stumble upon one, maybe in a secondhand store that is, you know, I would rather just find it locally. I'd rather find it in the wild. I'd rather not purchase it online, even though I could. Anyway, the record right now that eludes me the most is XTC's Nonsuch. And I am lucky enough to have a very good collection of their records that I've basically obtained in the past 6 months. Because even though I knew about XTC for a long, long time, I haven't been a big fan of them until very recently, and I don't know why it's changed now. All of a sudden it just kind of all clicked, and it's like, wow, they are so amazing, great songwriters, such great structure, variety. Again, kind of late 70s, early 80s kind of thing, and they may fall into that post-punk category. But Nonsuch is a record that I don't own, and I believe it was only released on vinyl in Europe and the UK, and it really is difficult to find in America. And I will get a copy one of these days. I'm determined to do it, but right now I would say that's very high on my list. Other times I've answered this question, I've mentioned Kate Bush and Ariel. Of course, I've talked several times about that Ryan Adams box set, that Live After Death, that I had in my basket checking out, and the website crashed, and then by the time it came back up they were sold out. It was a tragic moment in my life, really. But yeah, I just wanted to try to keep it fresh and interesting, and I hadn't talked about this, so that is how I will answer question number 4. All right, and then finally, there's a bonus question. If you answer one of George's lovely, adorable, adorable, great kids, Justin and Sadie, have both asked the question. Now, Sadie, his daughter, asked a question, what was Elvis's first record published on Sun? And I don't know the answer to that, Sadie. I could have cheated and Googled it and probably found out pretty easily. I think it may be That's All Right, Mama, but I'm really not entirely sure. I have to admit to George, knows this, and to Sadie and to others, I'm not a huge Elvis fan. I appreciate Elvis. I know that he was a pioneer, and he's got some good songs. I wouldn't mind having some of his hits, but I have nothing in my collection in any format of Elvis Presley, so I did not answer that one. But Justin, his son, who's a little bit older than Sadie, asked a question, what is your favorite thing about music? Well, that's very broad. And, you know, it could be the collecting piece, you know, just building a collection. It could be the friendships you make of the vinyl community, and like George, like your dad, and so many others that I've met through collecting records. But I think, well, how I'll answer this, Justin, is, you know, just the joy it brings me. You know, just the overall happiness, you know, when you put on a record that you love, or if you're discovering something new, it just brings a feeling to me that is unlike anything else. I mean, I'm also a big movie fan, and I love going to the movies, and I love the feeling of watching a movie that you really enjoy, but there's just nothing like the happiness that music brings me when it comes to hearing something that it strikes a nerve, or it resonates with you somehow. And that, to me, is my very favorite thing about music, is just the overall good feeling that it can bring. You know, whether it's a memory, or some sort of an emotion that it brings out of you, whether it's happiness or sadness or love or disgust, or, you know, whatever it may be. Music is something that really can change the world, and it has many, many times. And to me, that overall feeling it gives you is what I enjoy about music the most. And I hope that does a good job answering your question, Justin. who has very cute dimples, by the way. So I hope that as you grow older, I think you're about 8, 10 years old or something like that, you know, I hope you don't lose your dimples, because I think that's a really cool thing. Anyway, George, I adore you. I love your channel, and even though you and I sometimes clash a little bit on political things, we always overcome that, and we remain great friends. And I think that's a lesson for everybody, that you may not agree on everything, but you can still be great friends. And I consider George one of those first-class guys, like I said, that simply is an all-around good heart and has the perfect intentions, especially for YouTube, where he just comes and talks about the things he loves and keeps it very positive and doesn't get into the whole negativity of what the VC sometimes can be. So anyway, there is my contest entry for you, Vinyl, or the Elvis Vinyl Guy. 300 subscribers, very well earned. You deserve 300 more, 1,000 more, and you're going to get there, I'm sure. You're well over 300 already, so it's only a matter of time before you get up there into the 1,000 range, and I'll be along for the ride the whole way. So that is it from me. Again, if you haven't subscribed to George, please do so. The link is below me, and I look forward to watching his channel explode and grow, and look forward to the results of this contest. So thanks. I appreciate everyone watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.